Hi, so this is me. Hi, this is my setup. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the winch system that I built, just based on ideas on YouTube, other people's winches. Initially it was a wake winch and a snowboard winch, but as there's not a lot of water near me or a lot of snow, then I just converted it with a secondary drum to accept different level of gearing to work paraglider winch a lot better. So here we have the homemade paraglider winch. It's a Lifan nice 9 horsepower engine made a stainless steel frame. It's got this is just temporary for the moment because I'm making a paraglider paramotor throttle control assembler, but it's just throttle and a brake. It has removable drums. It can have adjustable gearing if I need it. This comes off and my other drum comes on if I want to go snowboarding, wakeboarding. It's got a TAV2 torque converter with a custom made plate. So basically this is a clutch. So the brake, we only use the brake when we're winding in, obviously, because we don't want the line to shoot through all the mechanism. And then if there's any problems, it will pay out of its own accord. Now I did design this to accept a level of hills. If there was hills or was any elevation and whatnot and it needed to rise up with the rope, then it would. I've not used that idea now because I've got a different method to avoid lockout, so we'll just go down the line. I'll show you that. So if you see, it's not locked down, it's just bedded into the ground. It's not going to go anywhere purely because we've got a homemade pulley system now, so no matter where the pull force on this engine is, it'll just be redirected through this pulley. And it's a split pulley system, so I can thread the cable. The pulley itself, the wheel is from a weightlifting machine, so that's good for 200 kilos. And it's nylon, just like the rope, so it should aid in less wear and tear. These are from local Home Depot, £4, powered into the ring. So now, if we go down the field, you can see today's method is I've stretched half the line out to another puller, and I brought the line all the way back to the winch. That way the winch operator can see exactly how the wing's inflated for the pilot, whether it's level, whether it's straight, whether the pilot's happy before he loads on the power. You can also check to see how the wind is. If you see that bloke walking by the windsock now, you can see that it's pretty dead, which is ideal for what we're going to do. And then as long as we've got no east to west winds, because we're facing north at the moment, everything will be fine. And with a little east to west drift, then you can drift with the glider, but you always got to point to the focus point, which is that windsock. That's where the other pulley system is. So I'm not going to walk all the way across to that other pulley system, because that, believe it or not, is about 600 feet away. What I'm going to do is going to walk to the end of the line and show you the systems that I've introduced to the end of the line. So we've got a homemade drogue chute, which is basically, it was just a square bit of fabric a friend gave me. In the seam I threaded some strimmer wire, as you can see the strimmer wire there, and then a little bit of paracord connected in line with the cable with a little bungee clip. I use elastic band on that, so when it pulls out, it'll pull out nice and straight, but when it drops, the band will loosen and the drogue chute will open. Coming down to the first line of safety, we have This is called a swivel. Now I bought this for a shark fishing swivel. This swivel is designed to break at 110 kilograms. I bought 10 of them and tested 3 of them, and they do break dead on 110 kilograms. So the idea being, if we do have lockout and we do have a massive extra strain on the line, and anything more than the pilot weight, this is going to snap. I've welded some custom rings and I've made 5 because the rings are quite tiny on that. So that's the weak link, and now we've got the quick release mechanism. There's the quick release bridle. Obviously that clips into the harness, and I can pull really tight. I don't know if you can see that, but the second I pull this, if you watch the rings, it disengages. So safety wise, we've got a beautiful open field, we've got a windsock, we've got a quick release bridle. Secondilla, we've got an overload weak link, we've got the drogue chute so we can see the line, people can see the line coming down. We've got a pulley system anchored to the windsock right at the bottom there, so if you're flying from here, you just want to head for that windsock, get as high as you can, click your legs a couple of times to let the operator know you're ready to release. As soon as he sees that, he'll throttle off a little bit just to stop the pendulum issues, and then hopefully you'll just turn around a few times and just fly back. That's really about it. That's the setup. Another, obviously, the obvious safety features, which I hope that people will just think, well, this is natural, are, of course, look at your training harness. You've got your main harness. I've got my main ring. I've got my ground handled wing, so I'll do a bit of ground handling prior to doing anything, just to make sure that what I'm seeing and feeling is exactly what the glider can see and feel. Then of course we've got our radios, we've got our vario, and we've got our wind meter. So if I switch it on, today's wind, getting a bit of breeze on now, but today's wind is 6.4 down to 7, 6.5, 5.4 down to 5, 4, and we've got a lovely breeze coming on now, going up to 7. It's not been any more than 10 today, so I hope it doesn't rise to 10 while I'm videoing it, sod law. So it's dying off. So that's a really nice breeze. I'm going to kite in this breeze before all my friends come so we can do some winching. As for the debriefing winching, the debriefing for the winch operator is as follows. Now, I'm changing the throttle cable on this to a paramotor throttle cable, but I'm also fitting a speedometer to the winch itself. So then, rather than a payout winch uses kilograms force to monitor line tension, I'm just going to work out through trial and error pilot weight to miles per hour pull on that barrel to then give me an idea of what's over tension and what's not over tension. We've already realised that a quarter throttle with my wing and my weight will get me a steady 60 foot for a couple of 100 metres down this field, so it's going to be an easy calculation to figure out. The winch operator knows to learn about tension, but mainly he needs to look at the wing, look at the line, and just be aware of lockout. Now, people freak out about lockout winches, and it is a serious thing. It's a very serious thing. But lockout occurs if you've not been trained. You don't know the safety features that you put in place. like you've not got a quick release bridle for a start, so how can you hook up? You've not been taught when and where to how to identify lockout, so you don't know when to unhook, and you've not got a safety brake within the line, so when it goes over tension it won't break, and you don't realise these things. So the main winch operator just has to look for lockout. If he can see lockout happening, then all he has to do is throttle off. The thing will level up and it will start to pay out of its own accord. If we run out of line and it can't pay out, then we just cut the line with a blade. And that's purely if he doesn't use the quick release system. So as for what happens, what if, I mean, there is a lot of worry buggers on the internet, but that winch is not going anywhere. All the load is coming off that pulley. It's not going to tip forward, backwards, it's not going to fly up, it's not going to fly down, it's just going to sew itself in. And as for the paraglider, the pilot himself, the basic commands is just going to hook up to this quick bridle. Is safety commander on the floor is going to check all his hooks, all his lines, all his connections. He's going to do a secondary debrief. He's going to assure himself that the pilot actually knows what's going to happen today, understands what's going to kick off. And then if it's a yes, 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 then the debriefing is, no matter what happens, you've got to head for that shackle, for that windsock. The wind could drift you to the right, it could drift you to the left, that's fine, let it drift, doesn't matter. It's all on a shackle, so the shackles will move 180 degrees, but you must always, to avoid lockout, aim for where the machine is pulling you at, which for me is that windsock. And if that's not the case and you don't do that, then the way that this shackle works and the way it's connected to your harness, it's connected at 2 points. So at the moment, because it's level, then you know full well your paraglider is going to fly in a straight line. But what about if you start to weight shift or twist your body? Then this is going to happen. So this is how lockout occurs. As soon as you start drifting off towards that point, so the pull point, it's now twisted, so you're getting more pull on this side and less on this side. Well, that's exactly the same as weight shifting, and the more it pulls you away, the more it's going to weight shift and the more it's going to put you into trouble. So the second that you stray away from the main line going to the pulling force at the end of that line, then you're going to your lockout's going to increase and increase and increase. You absolutely must be taught this. You must be shown videos of lockout, and you must have to understand in your head exactly why lockout can occur. You can still escape lockout if you're high enough. If you pull that cord, then you're just going to turn into the wind and land, and if not, it'll be a bumpy ride. But it's the E in extreme for extreme sports. It is what it is. So I'm waiting now for my friends to turn up so we can do some winching video.